After a sweep against Hyannis and then an off day, the Braves have made it to Yarmouth High School, home of the Yarmouth Red Sox. Welcome to a pregame Tomahawk Talk. Calvin Christoforo, Reeves Jackson, and Daniel Coates. And Daniel, the Braves an off day last night, a much-needed off day, I would say, after completing a 3-game sweep against Hyannis, a team that's in dead last, right? But the Harbor Hawks really never made it easy. The Braves had to do 2 late-game comebacks in that series to pull off the sweep. What did you see from the Braves late in that series that gives you confidence going forward?
Again, and something that has happened this entire season is the resiliency and the ability to battle back from this team. They were down 5-1, which is a score that we lost, or we won, I should say, the game before that at McKeon Park. So for them to come back and put all those runs in the bottom of the 6th as well as the bottom of the 9th, come back and win it. And when Christian Knapczyk got on base, and especially after Colby Thomas's hit to left field where Hardigan dropped it, you kind of knew that the Braves were going to rally together, and especially with their backs against the wall, I think that's where they're most effective. But what I really learned out of that 3-game stretch is that I think Caden Wallace is going to be the premier batter on this team at that 4-5 spot. He's had a 9-for-26 performance as of late. That's a 330-plus average, and he's been on base every single game since July 6th, and I don't think that's going to stop tonight.
Well, Caden Wallace has been special, and this team has had the flair for the dramatic as of late. Daniel mentioned the 2 comebacks, but the guy on the mound tonight is trying to make this game not as dramatic. That's Tristan Vreeling, who has been exceptional. His last 7 innings have been perfect, getting his first start of the season tonight. How big is the transition from the bullpen to the starter spot, and do you expect Vreeling to pick up right where he left off?
Well, I think for a lot of pitchers it's tough, but I think for Tristan Vreeling it'll be an easy transition because of how talented of a pitcher he is. I was actually talking to one of the scouts pregame here, and he goes, Vreeling's going against YD again after what he just did to them? Might as well give him the W, which is saying a lot about a pitcher who throws 94 to 96, 10 1/3 innings on the year. He struck out 13, and he's got an ERA of .87 and an .088 opponent's average, which is the lowest on the team. So I think he's just got to do what he's been doing. Obviously, the likelihood that he stays perfect, continues to stay perfect, is low because this is a good hitting YD team. They got Peyton Graham, their leadoff hitter from Oklahoma, is one of the best hitters in this Cape League, one of the more highly touted guys. So it's going to be a tougher task tonight. It is always facing a team for the second time, but I think Vreeling's up for the task, getting his first start.
Yeah, you mentioned the Braves and the Red Sox going at it for take number 2, Daniel. Let's go back to the last time they played. This was a game last weekend where the Braves really flat out dominated, a 10-3 victory, the best we've seen the offense play at home. They had 15 hits in that game. How can they replicate that performance here on the road today?
What I'm hoping is that we see more production spread out throughout the innings. I don't really want to rely on those 5-6 run innings that the Braves have. Of course, those are great, but you can't just rely on them when you're down 5-1 like we did against Hyannis. Of course, we got off easy with that one. We got the win and the sweep. But today, I think an interesting story to keep an eye on is it going to be Joe Lampe or Christian Knapczyk at the 1 spot, or will we see Joe Lampe at the 9 spot? He's been struggling a bit as of late, hasn't gotten a hit in recent memory. So for him to really get started, I think is going to be key for this team, whether he is at the 1 spot or in a way leading things off in the 9 spot, swinging it back up to Christian Knapczyk and then Max Anderson. But for them to do it today, everyone needs to produce, and they think they need to spread it out a bit more.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Joe Lampe in the 9 spot tonight. Stick with Christian Knapczyk in the 1 hole. In the middle, the Braves lineup, you mentioned it, has been very good. Max Anderson, Dalton Rushing, Caden Wallace. They've been exceptional, Reeves. But for the Braves, if the Braves were to lose this game and YD was going to steal it from them, what would the Braves have to fail at doing?
I also think Daniel hit the nail on the head. I think the Braves have to get runs spread out across all 9 innings because you can't really bank on crooked numbers being put up every inning. Obviously, the Braves had that 5-run 8th against Hyannis, won 5-1, and then obviously had that 5-run 6th, ended up coming back after they gave up the lead and scored 2 in the 9th. So I think they need to spread out their offensive production, and that's obviously much easier said than done. And guess what? We'll take big innings. We're not saying that's a problem, but you can't rely on them. Obviously. You're going to have to produce more runs throughout, especially for a guy in Tristan Vreeling who's probably going to give you a great outing and get your team off to a good start. So the offense needs to give him a lead early and then rely on the bullpen. Could see Austin Parsley. Don't know who we'll see yet, but I like the guys that we'll have out of the bullpen today. Just need the offense to get off to an early start and put up a few strings of ones throughout the game.
And with no lights here at DY, things could get a little dicey with the sun going down, so it's going to be major important to score runs early in this game. We'll see if the Braves can win their 4th game in a row. First pitch tonight from Yarmouth is set for 5, but before the Bravos, we'll get you going at 4:40. But until then, as always, go Braves.